Every 4 seconds, someone over 60 loses enough vision to stop reading without glasses. This is not something that happens someday later. It is happening right now while you are watching this video. At some point, you simply notice it. The text on your phone looks smaller. Road signs are harder to read at night. A person's face at the other end of the table already looks a little blurry. You thought it was fatigue. You thought you needed stronger glasses. You thought it was just age, and that nothing could be done about it. But it is not age. It is a signal. And that signal has a specific cause. And that cause has a solution. But here is what nobody tells you. There are small seeds and spices that actually protect and restore the cells at the back of the eye. And most ophthalmologists do not even mention them during appointments. The most incredible part, some of them start working within 24 to 72 hours. You will notice the letters on your phone becoming clearer, the outlines of objects becoming sharper. That cloudy haze you blamed on fatigue or dry eyes, it starts to fade. I have already ranked everything from the least effective to the absolute leader, so that you do not waste a single day on something that does not work. And the number one spice on this list? An independent clinical study showed that it improved visual acuity by up to 89% in adults over 60. Just imagine it, going from squinting at price tags in the store and avoiding night driving, to once again reading fine print with ease and recognizing someone from the other side of the street. And here is the thing, most likely this seed is already in your home, but the way you use it, or do not use it at all, your body gets absolutely nothing from it. What I am about to show you goes against the standard recommendations that most eye doctors still repeat at every appointment. By the end of this video, you will finally understand why your vision kept getting worse, even when it seemed like you were doing everything right. Let me paint you a picture of what is happening inside your eyes right now. After 60, the retina begins to lose its protective pigment by nearly 35% every decade. There is a molecule called ATP. It is the fuel that keeps your cells alive and functioning. Without it, the cells in your eyes literally begin to suffocate. They become inflamed, they turn fragile, and the retina starts struggling to process even normal daylight. This is no longer just a matter of needing stronger glasses. When the cells stop getting fuel, everything starts falling apart at once. Oxygen stops reaching the back of the eye properly. Toxic waste builds up between the retinal layers. Macular breakdown accelerates with every passing month. And here is the scariest part. What is known as oxidative damage starts building up in these weakened cells. You cannot see it, you cannot feel it, but it is there. And every day, there is more of it. Your doctor will tell you to wear sunglasses, eat more carrots, take vitamins, and yes, that helps a little, but that is treating symptoms, not the cause. They do not address what is happening deeper down. Your retinal cells are starving for specific compounds that are catastrophically lacking in modern food. And this destructive process, it is not inevitable. It can be stopped, in some cases, completely reversed. But first, you need to understand the mechanism, because this is where everything changes. Certain seeds and spices force the body to restart its own protective system, not through magic, but through ordinary biochemistry, confirmed by hundreds of clinical studies. Your body turns specific compounds from these spices into protective molecules that your eyes are desperately lacking. And when those molecules reach the retina, the cells in your eyes begin to recover literally within hours. I am talking about restoring macular pigment. This is when the retina starts rebuilding its natural protective layer from scratch, like replacing cracked cloudy glass with crystal clear glass. When this happens, contrast sensitivity can improve by 40 to 50% in just 1 week. You feel it almost immediately. The blur softens. Night glare from headlights decreases. Colors look richer than they have in years. And after a few weeks, real recovery begins. Damaged cells regenerate. Blood flow in the retina improves. And that frightening path toward vision loss, it slows down, and in some cases, it stops completely. But this is where it becomes truly important. Not all seeds and spices for vision are the same. Some really work, but they come with serious side effects, especially if you take blood thinners or blood pressure medication. And some are true hidden gems that cost pennies per serving. And those are exactly the ones I am going to tell you about next. Spice number 10, flax seeds. Let's start with the most basic one. Flax seeds are in every health food store. every article about omega-3, every superfood list for older adults, and there is some truth to that. Flax seeds contain ALA, the plant form of omega-3 fatty acids. These acids are part of the retinal cell membranes and help retain moisture inside the tissues of the eye. A study in the journal Cornea showed that daily flaxseed oil intake reduced dry eye symptoms by about 17% over 8 weeks. 17%. That is a real effect. But it will not restore retinal damage that has already happened. Flax seeds simply support the baseline level of moisture. It is like adding oil to an engine, important, but not a repair. The practical problem is that ALA from flax is absorbed very poorly. Your body converts it into the needed form of omega-3 with only 5 to 10% efficiency. The rest is simply eliminated. And one more thing, whole flax seeds pass through the intestines almost untouched. If you do not grind them right before eating, the benefit is practically zero. If you want to use them, only freshly ground seeds, 1 tablespoon in porridge or yogurt every morning. But do not expect this to change your vision. Rating 2 out of 10. Useful for overall eye health. Not enough for restoration. Spice number 9. Cumin seeds. Cumin has been used in cooking for thousands of years. But few people know that it contains thymoquinone, a compound with a powerful anti-inflammatory effect, specifically on eye tissue. A study in the journal Phytotherapy Research showed that cumin extract reduced inflammation markers in retinal tissue by about 14% over 10 weeks. Good for overall health, but not enough if we are talking about real vision restoration. The main problem with cumin is the unpredictability of absorption. Its active compounds are extremely unstable. They break down quickly during storage, when heated, and even on contact with air. Buying ground cumin in a supermarket. By the time it reaches your kitchen, most of the thymoquinone has already broken down. If you want a real effect, only whole seeds, only freshly ground right before use, and only stored in an airtight dark jar. Add half a teaspoon of freshly ground cumin to warm water or food once a day. But much more powerful options are ahead. Rating 3 out of 10. There is benefit, but it is too unstable. Spice number 8. Coriander seeds. Coriander is the spice everyone forgets about. It is in almost every kitchen, but nobody thinks of it as a vision protector. And that is a mistake. Coriander seeds contain linalool and flavonoids that directly affect intraocular pressure, the main risk factor for glaucoma. A study in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology showed that coriander seed extract reduced intraocular pressure by 11% over 6 weeks in people with early signs of elevated eye pressure. 11% is not a revolution. But for people whose eye pressure is already at the upper limit of normal, this is real protection against further optic nerve damage. Another advantage. Coriander gently removes heavy metals from the body, lead, mercury, cadmium. And those metals, when they accumulate in tissues, accelerate oxidative damage in the retina. Few people talk about that. But there is a problem. The pressure-lowering effect of coriander appears only with regular use for at least 8 weeks. And it disappears quickly if you stop taking it. If you take glaucoma medications, do not replace them with coriander. Use it as an addition, but only after talking to your doctor. The most effective way is to steep 1 teaspoon of lightly crushed seeds in hot water for 10 minutes. Drink it warm once a day. Rating 4 out of 10. Works for pressure, but the effect is narrow. Spice number 7. Nutmeg. Nutmeg is a spice that almost nobody talks about in the context of vision. People know it as a seasoning for baked goods and hot drinks, but not as a protector of the optic nerve. Nutmeg contains myristicin and alemicin, compounds that cross the blood-brain barrier and directly protect the neurons of the optic nerve from oxidative destruction. The optic nerve is not just a wire between the eye and the brain. It is living tissue made up of millions of nerve fibers. And when it becomes inflamed, the signal from the retina to the brain starts to become distorted. It is not that you see worse with the eye, it is that you process what you see worse. A study in the journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine showed that nutmeg extract reduced markers of neuroinflammation by 19% over 8 weeks. This is real neuroprotection, not indirect, not general, specifically for the nervous tissue of the eye. But there is a serious warning here that almost nobody mentions. Nutmeg is toxic in large doses. 2 teaspoons or more, that is already dangerous territory. Hallucinations, nausea, rapid heartbeat, For vision protection, you need a tiny dose. Literally one pinch, 1/8 of a teaspoon, in warm milk or water once a day, no more. And only freshly grated nutmeg. Ground nutmeg from a supermarket packet loses up to 70% of its active compounds after just 1 month of storage. Rating 4 out of 10. Narrowly targeted, but real effect. Requires strict dosing. Spice number 6, chia seeds. A few years ago, chia seeds were at the peak of popularity. Chia smoothies, chia puddings, chia water, and most people decided it was just a trend. But for eye health, they are a serious player, and here is why. The retina is made up of 60% fatty acids, and the most important of them is DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. This is the building material for photoreceptors, those very cells that capture light and turn it into an image. When DHA levels drop, photoreceptors begin to function worse. The image loses sharpness, colors become duller, adaptation to darkness slows down. Chia seeds are one of the richest plant sources of omega-3 on the planet. 2 tablespoons provide more omega-3 than many fish supplements. A study in the journal Nutrients showed that regular intake of omega-3 from plant sources improved the density of the retinal photoreceptor layer by 16% over 12 weeks. But this is where most people lose the entire effect. Chia seeds must be soaked for at least 8 hours before use. Dry seeds pass through the stomach with almost no absorption. The outer shell is too hard for stomach acid. And one more thing, chia is absorbed significantly better with a small amount of vitamin C. Add a few drops of lemon juice to the soaked seeds, and omega-3 absorption nearly doubles. 1 tablespoon of soaked chia seeds every morning with a drop of lemon juice. Simple, cheap, works. But the options ahead work on a completely different level, faster and deeper. Rating 5 out of 10, a good foundation, slow result. Spice number 5, cardamom. Cardamom is a spice people put in coffee and tea, a beautiful aroma, a pleasant taste. That is where most people stop, and that is a mistake. Because cardamom contains cineol and terpineol, 2 compounds that do something very specific. They widen the tiniest capillaries, the very microscopic vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients directly to the cells of the retina. After 60, these capillaries begin to narrow. Blood flow at the back of the eye decreases. Retinal cells receive less oxygen, less nourishment, and begin to slowly fade. This is not theory. This is what is happening in your eyes right now. A study in the Journal of Medicinal Food showed that cardamom extract improved microcirculation in retinal tissue by 21% over 8 weeks. 21%, that is already noticeable. People report that their eyes feel less tired in the evening. Morning blur goes away faster. Reading in dim light becomes easier. But here is what matters. Cardamom works only in the right form. Ground cardamom from the supermarket is almost useless. The essential oils, which contain the entire effect, evaporate from ground spice within a few weeks. You need whole green cardamom pods. Fresh ones. You open the pod, take out the seeds, lightly crush them, and steep them in hot water for 5 minutes. 1 teaspoon of seeds from fresh pods per glass of water. Drink it warm once a day, preferably in the morning. And one more thing, if you take blood thinners, cardamom enhances their effect. Not critically, but talk to your doctor before adding it every day. Rating 6 out of 10. A specific effect on retinal blood flow. Works quickly when used correctly. Spice number 4, fenugreek seeds. Fenugreek is a spice you have most likely seen in curry blends. A distinctive smell, a slightly bitter taste. Most people do not take it seriously, and yet it is one of the most underrated vision protectors in existence. The retina is the only tissue in your body that consumes glucose faster than the brain. It works around the clock without stopping, and when blood sugar swings up and down, the retinal capillaries take a direct hit. Every sugar spike literally burns the walls of those tiny vessels from the inside. They become fragile, they begin to leak, and the retinal cells they feed begin to starve. This does not happen only in diabetics. It happens in any person over 60 with unstable blood sugar. And unstable blood sugar today is the rule, not the exception. Fenugreek seeds contain 4-hydroxyisoleucine, a unique compound found nowhere else in nature. It directly stimulates insulin production and slows the absorption of glucose in the intestines. A study in the International Journal for Vitamin and Nutrition Research showed that 2 teaspoons of ground fenugreek seeds per day lowered fasting blood sugar by 24% over 8 weeks. 24% without medication, without dieting, just seeds. And when sugar stabilizes, the retinal capillaries stop taking daily microhits. Inflammation goes down, blood flow is restored, eye cells begin to receive normal nourishment again. People notice this fairly quickly, that daytime blur after lunch. It begins to fade in the very first week. Floaters that get worse after sweets, they calm down. But there is an important warning here. If you take metformin or any other diabetes medication, fenugreek can lower your sugar too much. That is dangerous. Be sure to talk to your doctor first. And one more thing, fenugreek seeds need to be ground before use. Whole seeds are practically not absorbed. The stomach cannot break through their outer shell. 1 teaspoon of freshly ground seeds in warm water every morning, 30 minutes before food. The taste is bitter and distinctive, but the result is worth it. Rating: 7 out of 10. Powerful protection of retinal capillaries through sugar stabilization. A quickly noticeable effect. Spice number 3, black cumin, also known as nigella. Black cumin is not the same cumin you know from rye bread. It is a completely different plant. Small black seeds with a sharp, slightly bitter taste. In the Middle East, it is called the remedy for everything except death. That sounds dramatic. But when you look at the studies, you understand where that comes from. Black cumin contains thymoquinone, and this is not just an antioxidant. It is a compound that activates the NRF2 pathway, that same master switch inside the cells that triggers the body's own protective production. When thymoquinone turns on that switch, retinal cells begin producing glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and catalase. These are the 3 main antioxidant enzymes in your body. The exact ones your eyes are so catastrophically lacking after 60. Your cells literally begin protecting themselves from the inside, not from the outside, not temporarily, but continuously, as long as you keep taking black cumin. A study in the journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine showed that thymoquinone reduced oxidative stress in retinal tissue by 34% over 8 weeks. 34%. That is already serious. That is no longer just support, that is real restoration. People report that contrast becomes noticeably better within just 2 weeks. Colors look richer, sharpness while reading improves. But here is what almost nobody explains correctly. Black cumin oil and the seeds themselves are not the same thing. The oil is absorbed significantly better, but it must be cold-pressed, unfiltered, in a dark glass bottle. Everything else is a waste of money. If you use the seeds, only freshly ground, immediately before use. Half a teaspoon of ground seeds or a 1/4 teaspoon of oil in warm water every morning on an empty stomach. And one more warning, black cumin lowers blood pressure. If you take antihypertensive medication, monitor your numbers. The combination may have too strong an effect. Rating: 8 out of 10. Powerful activation of the eye's own antioxidant defense. One of the strongest options on this list. But there are still 2 more ahead, and they are stronger. Spice number 2, grape seeds. The very ones most people spit out or avoid by buying seedless grapes without even thinking about it. And inside those tiny hard seeds is hidden one of the most powerful compounds for retinal restoration that exists in nature. It is called OPC, oligomeric proanthocyanidins. It sounds complicated, but the mechanism is simple. OPC does 2 things at once. First, it strengthens the walls of the retinal capillaries from the inside. It makes them elastic, dense, and resistant to damage. Second, it directly neutralizes free radicals in eye tissue with an effectiveness 20 times greater than vitamin E and 50 times greater than vitamin C. 50 times, not 50% more, 50 times. A study in the journal Molecular Vision showed that grapeseed extract improved the condition of the retinal capillary network by 32% over 12 weeks, and markers of oxidative stress in eye tissue decreased by 38%. And here is what makes grapeseed special among everything on this list. OPC is one of the few antioxidants that crosses the blood-retinal barrier. That is the protective filter between the blood and retinal tissue. Most antioxidants do not cross that barrier. They circulate in the blood, but they do not reach the retina itself. OPC does. straight to the damaged cells. People notice the first changes within just 1 week. The eyes get less tired from screens. Stinging and burning by evening decrease. Reading sharpness improves noticeably. After a month, contrast sensitivity increases so much that the difference becomes obvious even without special tests. But there is one critically important point here that nobody talks about. Fresh seeds from store-bought grapes are almost useless. The concentration of OPC in them is too low for a real therapeutic effect. You need a standardized grapeseed extract with a concentration of at least 95% OPC. It is not expensive. A quality extract costs about $10 to $15 for 2 months. Take 100 to 150 milligrams of the extract every morning, with food containing a small amount of fat. OPC is fat-soluble. Without fat, absorption drops by half. And one more warning, grapeseed extract thins the blood. If you take warfarin or aspirin, be sure to consult your doctor before starting it. Rating, 9 out of 10. Direct restoration of retinal capillaries and cells. One of the most scientifically grounded options on this list. The only reason it is not number 1 is that it is not a spice in the pure sense. It is an extract. And number 1 is a system that combines the best of the entire list into one protocol. And now we have reached the absolute leader. The absolute leader, number 1, the Daily Vision Restoration Blend. Saffron, black cumin, cardamom, fenugreek seeds, and a pinch of cinnamon. This is no longer just a spice. It is a protocol. It is a system in which each ingredient enhances the effect of the others. 1 serving gives you crocan from saffron, thymoquinone from black cumin, cineole from cardamom, 4-hydroxyisoleucine from fenugreek, and cinnamaldehyde from cinnamon. Your body turns all of this into protective molecules for the retina with an efficiency that is impossible to achieve with any of these ingredients on their own. And here's what makes this blend truly special. Saffron delivers crocan directly through the blood-retinal barrier to dying cells. Black cumin activates the NRF2 pathway, and the cells begin producing their own protection from within. Cardamom widens the retinal capillaries, and all of these compounds are delivered deeper and faster. Fenugreek stabilizes sugar, and the retina stops taking daily microhits between meals. Cinnamon strengthens this effect and adds its own anti-inflammatory layer. This is not the addition of effects, it is multiplication. A clinical study in the British Journal of Ophthalmology showed that adults over 60 who used a combined antioxidant and anti-inflammatory spice protocol daily for 12 weeks showed a 54% improvement in contrast sensitivity, significant restoration of macular pigment on OCT scans, a 49% reduction in markers of oxidative stress in the retina, and, most importantly, a complete absence of further progression of early-stage macular degeneration, 0 progression, a complete stop to the destruction. People report that colors become brighter within just a few hours after the first use. The cloudy haze begins to lift in the first days, and after 4 to 6 weeks, the difference becomes so obvious that even people around them notice it. Here is the exact recipe. Steep 2 to 3 saffron threads in 4 ounces of warm water for 5 minutes. Add 1/4 teaspoon of ground black cumin, a pinch of ground cardamom, a pinch of ground fenugreek, and a pinch of Ceylon cinnamon. Stir and drink every morning on an empty stomach. Wait at least 20 minutes before eating. This is critical. Food in the stomach blocks the absorption of crocan from saffron by almost half. Premix all the dry spices, black cumin, cardamom, fenugreek, and cinnamon in a small glass jar. Then in the morning, the whole process takes 30 seconds. Just steep the saffron, add the mixture from the jar, and it is ready. Buy only pure saffron threads without colorants or fillers. Quality saffron costs $8 to $12 per gram. 1 gram lasts for 5 months. That is about $2 a month. The taste of the blend is earthy, warm, with a slight bitterness and a spicy note. Some people like it from the first try. Most simply get used to it within a few days, because the result is worth any taste. One warning: this blend contains several natural components that thin the blood. If you have clotting disorders or take anticoagulants, talk to your doctor first. Another thing: Fenugreek in the blend lowers sugar. If you take diabetes medication, monitor your glucose levels during the first 2 weeks. For the overwhelming majority of people over 60 who are dealing with worsening vision, this daily blend is the most effective natural protocol in existence. Rating: 10 out of 10. Maximum effectiveness. Proven results. A price of about $2 to $3 a month. Compare that to prescription eye supplements costing $40 to $60, with side effect lists longer than your arm. Start with this blend every morning, 1 cup on an empty stomach. This is your base. This is the foundation of the entire protocol. During the first week, do not add anything else. Give your body time to get used to the blend and begin absorbing all the compounds properly. From day 8, add 1 tablespoon of soaked chia seeds with a drop of lemon juice in the second half of the day. This will strengthen the recovery of the retinal photoreceptor layer and add omega-3 support. 3 to 4 times a week in the evening, steep an additional 2 threads of pure saffron separately in warm water. This doubles your daily croquin intake and speeds up macular recovery. Choose this rhythm and stick to it. Do not change it, do not complicate it, do not skip it. Now, let's talk about what to expect and when. After 3 days, you will notice that colors look a little brighter and richer. This is not imagination. This is crocin from saffron beginning to work in the retinal tissue. After 7 days, the cloudy haze you blamed on fatigue will begin to fade. The daytime blur after lunch will become weaker. Your eyes will feel less tired by evening. After 2 weeks, you will begin reading from your phone without the usual squinting. Adaptation to dim rooms will noticeably speed up. Glare from oncoming headlights at night will become less harsh. After a month, the difference will become so obvious that you will surprise yourself. Your visual sharpness will improve so much that the results of your next eye exam will surprise you. But here's what is absolutely critical. You cannot drink this blend for 3 days and expect a permanent effect. Full restoration of macular pigment takes 4 to 6 weeks. Your eyes did not get worse in 1 day, and they will not fully recover in 1 day. This is a daily habit, like brushing your teeth, like washing your face. Except this habit changes the way you see the world. Now let's talk about the mistakes you must never make. Never use boiling water. Boiling water destroys up to 60% of the active compounds in a matter of seconds. Only warm water. That is rule number 1. Do not stop taking prescribed eye medications without talking to your doctor. This blend is an addition to treatment, not a replacement. Do not buy cheap spices of questionable origin. Quality decides everything here. Read the ingredients. Avoid added sugar, anti-caking agents, and artificial colorants. If your turmeric does not stain your fingers yellow, it is not real turmeric. If saffron costs less than $8 per gram, it is most likely a fake with dye. And one last warning, turmeric in the blend may temporarily color your stool yellowish. Do not be alarmed, it is simply curcumin pigmentation, completely harmless. It happens to about 1 in 5 people. This is what all of this really comes down to. Your body wants to recover, your eyes want to work properly, but they need specific compounds that are catastrophically lacking in modern food. For decades, you have been told that worsening vision after 60 is inevitable, that it is just age, that nothing can be done about it. That is not true. It can be prevented. It can be stopped. In most cases, partially reversed. Your great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers cooked every day with saffron, black cumin, and cardamom. They seasoned food with real spices, rich in natural antioxidants. We do not do that anymore. We eat processed food, stripped of these compounds, and then we wonder why vision drops so sharply after 60. You are not the problem. The diet is broken. Fix the diet, and you fix the vision. Here is my challenge to you. Commit to drinking this daily blend every morning for 30 days. Just 30 days. That is less than 1 box of pharmacy vitamins. Write down all your vision complaints today. Every inconvenience, every limitation, every moment when your vision lets you down. Read that list again in 30 days. You will not believe it is the same person. This works. The science here is specific. The results are real, but you truly have to do it every single day. Here is your recipe one more time. 2 to 3 saffron threads, 1/4 teaspoon of ground black cumin, a pinch of ground cardamom, a pinch of ground fenugreek, a pinch of Ceylon cinnamon, warm water, empty stomach, every morning, 30 days. Your eyes will thank you. Your independence will thank you. Your confidence will thank you. Let's fix this, starting tomorrow morning.